Good morning, guys. As you can see, we are in the kitchen today. After our big push to get all of the plants out into the garden last weekend, I am focusing on getting some of the kind of last minute things I wanted to get done over the winter time as far as canning goes, and that is going to be finishing up packaging and canning my beans up. I am going to be doing a couple different things today. The first one is getting these navy beans canned up. I'm going to try the two different sauces that are on the National Center of Home Food Preservation. One of them is like a tomato-based sauce. The other one has some molasses in it and is a little bit different. So I want to try them both. So I'm going to do both of those today. And then I will also be doing some chickpeas this afternoon to have those on hand because I am a big fan of hummus, and I'd also like to use them a little bit more in our day-to-day cooking, adding them to salads or to quick meals or stir fries and things like that. So I want to get those canned up and done so that I have them handy and ready on hand. To start off with, I need to get these beans washed up, rinsed, and get them into the pot and get them boiling. So let's start with that. So this is a quick cook method, I guess they would call it. If you do not soak your beans overnight, they will take a very long time to cook. So this method actually kind of shortens that time a little bit. You place your beans in a pot of water, cover them with quite a bit of extra water, bring it to a boil, and then you set it aside for 1 hour and just let them sit there. At that point, you can go on and move on to the rest of the recipe. My chickpeas, I did soak them overnight, and I just put them in a pot of water and set them on the countertop and let them go for like 12 to 18 hours basically. Both of these methods get you to the same point, which is getting your beans cooked and canned. And so you can use either one depending on how much time you have. If you are short on time, this quick cook method may be more useful. If you are good about planning ahead, then soaking your beans overnight is actually the easier method overall. So my navy beans just got finished boiling. I went ahead and took them off the stove. They're on the counter now, and they will stay there for the next hour or so. While they're doing their thing, I'm going to go ahead and move forward with my chickpeas. These are the ones that I have soaked overnight already. So I drained off that water, added fresh water, and I'm bringing them back to the boil. While I'm going to do that, I'm also going to heat up my jars and get those ready to go, have the beans put into them, and I will probably also start working on the sauces so that those will be ready to go when my navy beans get done. For the first sauce, which is a tomato-based sauce for the navy beans, I will be using ketchup and some of the cooking liquid from the pot right here. And it's just basically 1 cup of tomato sauce to about 3 cups of water. So this is some homemade tomato sauce that I made last year, and I may need to supplement it a little bit with some of another jar that we actually have open. I don't know what happened over the holidays. We had guests here, and they all know that I have supplies downstairs that I keep, especially condiments and things like that. I just buy them in bulk and keep them on the shelf downstairs. So at some point, someone wandered down there and opened up one of the Heinz ketchup bottles I had purchased before I had started making my own ketchup. And then somebody else must have wandered down there, not seeing the open bottle in the fridge, and opened up another one. So we had 3 ketchup bottles at some point sitting in our fridge. So we have been slowly working through all of them. Now that I've used up this jar, we are down to the one last bottle of Heinz ketchup. And I think that is actually the last of it that I had downstairs. We will be using the homemade ketchup from now on, since I was able to can up a bunch of it last year. The second sauce is a molasses style sauce, at least that's what they call it on the website. It has molasses, apple cider vinegar, some dried mustard, and salt. And I'm interested to see how this one tastes. I don't know if it's going to be overly sweet or if it's supposed to be kind of like a baked bean sort of type of recipe, so I'm interested to try it. I will put links down in the description if you are interested in trying either of these recipes. It also did not stipulate what kind of vinegar to use. I'm going to go ahead and use apple cider vinegar. It's usually my preferred one for recipes, unless it specifically states white vinegar. So now that my sauces are done, I went ahead and set them to the side for now, and I will get started setting up for canning these chickpeas. Which is mostly just putting down my cutting board here, covering it with a clean cloth, and once these are back up to boiling, I will go ahead and take out my jars and fill them up with these chickpeas. We are all ready to go. My chickpeas are boiling, my jars are all warmed up and sterilized. So I am just going to get them onto my cutting board here that has a towel on it. This helps kind of insulate the glassware if anything gets broken, or there's no thermal shock from being put on something really cold suddenly. We're going for about 3/4 full. I chose to do half pints. This makes a really good amount for some fresh snacking hummus, and I typically like to make hummus fairly frequently, so this size works out perfect for me. If you're a bigger family or you'd like to make bigger amounts, you may want to use a larger size. But I find, as far as our little 2-person household, I usually end up using smaller jars than most people do. Like, I think my vegetables and meats are always canned in a pint jar. The really only thing I use for quart jars is our soups. That is the largest size kind of jar that I use for the most part, and it's almost just our soups. There's nothing else that I really can in them. Everything else I kind of tailor to us. So a pint jar will hold about 2 cups of vegetables. That's 1 cup each. That's about a serving size for a dinner or something like that. For snacking sort of type stuff, so like my fruits and things, I will put them in these little half pints, because that's like the perfect size to have as a snack. I also do a lot of they're kind of like simmer sauces. Like I have a butter chicken one that I went ahead and canned up in pints, because a half pint of that will make basically a full meal for the 2 of us, and we don't have any leftovers kind of hanging around in the fridge. So I started out with a total of 3 pounds last night of dried chickpeas, and that is definitely going to get me for sure a full canner load of these half pints. And then I'll have a little bit extra because I plan to use them into night's dinner, as well as making some snacks out of them. I have seen some Pinterest and Instagram posts about taking chickpeas and adding some flavorings to them and either baking them in the oven or air frying them, and I'm kind of interested in that, so I'm going to take this opportunity to give that a try and see if I like it. And I'm not sure if this will make like homemade aquafaba. It's the term that people use for the liquid from canned chickpeas. It has some kind of interesting properties. As far as I know, you can kind of, I think, use it a little bit as a substitute for egg whites. You can whip it up kind of like you would whipped cream. So it is used as a substitute fairly frequently for a couple different stuff. And I'm curious kind of if basically you don't have to do anything special to it, or if this will just turn out to be aquafaba. Give everybody a little tap. Be careful, these are hot. We'll wipe our rims down. And I'm choosing not to put salt in these. I will flavor them as I like, as hummus or on my salads. So I've got my lid on. I'm just gonna wait for a steady stream of steam from the top, put my top on, and then we will pressure canning for 65 minutes at 11 pounds of pressure. So all of our chickpeas are done now. We're going to move on to round 2, and that is going to be our navy beans in their different sauces. So I'm going to go ahead and top up the water in my canner and get that heated again with some jars in it. So a couple things of note about this recipe. I noticed 3 pounds of beans made exactly 1 canner full of pint jars, and the sauces that they have written, or as they are written, makes 5 pints worth of sauce. So I actually made both recipes and they worked out perfectly because I made 5 pints of each of them, and now I have 10 pints in my canner for a full canner. Alright guys, so we are all done for today. I did 2 different loads of canning. The first was pretty much just all of my chickpeas, and then we have a split load of beans, navy beans, that have been done with 2 different sauces. We're going to give them a try over the next couple weeks, see if we like either of them, so I know for next time what I might want to do. These will last us for quite a while. We don't eat a whole lot of beans, but it's definitely something nice to have on the shelves in case I need something as a side, and this is about a perfect amount for the 2 of us. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you guys next time.